Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis and out where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, you can visit the Sky Sports app for more details or scan that QR code as well. Live now is Arsenal fan Christian Ty. Good morning, Christian. Right, before the North London derby, if I'd said you'd get 2 wins and a draw from games against Tottenham, Chelsea and Bayern Munich, would you have taken it then?
Yeah, probably. We had a very tough week. Yeah, I probably would have taken it. Ideally, the draw would have come against Bayern Munich. Obviously, we put ourselves in a very good position in the Champions League where we can probably afford a draw. And I thought we could have won the other 2 games. Obviously, we beat Spurs quite comprehensively. And then, yeah, yesterday ended up getting the draw, which, you know, in hindsight might look like a good point. But I think on the run of play, with them going down to 10 men after, 35, 40 minutes, probably should have taken all 3 points. But, yeah, it wasn't to be.
It was the second time in 162 games that you've been without Gabriel and Saliba at the same time, right? We don't know yet the extent of Saliba's injury, but are you happy enough with Nketiah and Mosquera if it is long-term? I mean, you've also got Calafiori and Benjamin White who can play inside as well, but you're happy enough with that pair?
Yeah, look, we've got a squad that can do a job and cover. We saw it yesterday. It's the first time they've started together in the Premier League. I think they did a decent job. I think it affected our game. You know, Gabriel and Saliba are really important in our build-up, how we control games. I think Gabriel has had the most short passes of any Arsenal player this season. So it definitely affects us. I think losing Trossard, who's probably been our best attacker this season as well, midweek against Bayern Munich, definitely affected us as well. So with those changes going into a massive game like Chelsea, it was going to be tough. I thought we were still competitive in that first half. Before the red card, it was still quite even. They had a big chance through Esteval. We had a big chance through Saka on his right foot. Could have done better. And then, yeah, the red cards, you know, changed the game. Got to half-time at 0-0. And, yeah, I'm sure we can talk about the second half. But, yeah, we've got a squad now. So there's no excuses of, oh, this player was missing. Obviously, it is the truth. And I think Arteta touched on it. But no Arsenal fan's going to be like, this is the reason we dropped points. Or this is we're still unbeaten in 17 games. You know, 14 wins and 3 draws. It's not the end of the world.
Christian, I'm glad you said that, because now a lot of people, now Arsenal fans as well, but a lot of people are looking at it saying, well, Arsenal have got a squad now. No excuses, no more excuse about people being injured or anything like that. They've built a squad. As I looked at it yesterday, I could tell in your voice and the frustration and how far Arsenal have come to go to Stamford Bridge and not come away with 3 points is frustrating. Yes, again, it was against 10 men. Did you think you did enough to win the game in that second half against the 10, or are you giving credit to Chelsea the way they defended?
Yeah, no, we didn't do enough at all. When a team goes down to 10 men, especially against this Arsenal team, you assume we're going to be creating chances. You know, Sanchez is going to have loads of saves to make. Credit to Chelsea, honestly. I think they're definitely in this. I said it last week. I said they're in this title race. And I think after watching them closely yesterday, they got so much quality. Reece James was the best player on the pitch. They defended well. They were still a threat on the counter. I've seen people going a little bit too far and saying that, you know, they were so much better than Arsenal, and if they had 11 men, and they had 11 men for pretty much the whole of the first half. Caicedo got sent off in the 38th. Before that, like I said, it was competitive. It wasn't just one team in that game. And they didn't really create much in that second half. They got the set piece, fair play, scored from it. Ironic, because people call Arsenal set piece FC. But it's part of the game. And then after that, you know, we got the goal back. Merino had a chance on his left foot. A couple other small chances, and then if Timber doesn't take it off Gyökeres's head in literally the last second of the game, we maybe snatch a winner, which wouldn't have been deserved. I don't think it would. I think a draw on the run of it was probably the fair point, but disappointed as an Arsenal fan, because like I said, when they go down to 10 men, you've got to take all 3.
Are you more worried about Chelsea or Man City?
I'm not worried about anyone. I think if we do our job and play how we've been playing. Like I said, unbeaten in the last 17. It's not like we're on a losing streak now. I think at Arsenal, because of what's happened in recent years, a result like this, or, you know, when you're expected to win, you know, the critics come out and they start talking and the noise gets loud, but we're still in a very good place. You know, regroup. We've got Brentford on Wednesday and then Villa away after that. Just go again and play how we've been playing. And
but Christian, I don't think Arsenal can fear anybody now. They're in pole position. They've got the squad. They've got everything set up to go and win the Premier League. Yes, it's still early. I totally understand that. But now everything's in the right place for them to push on and go and win. And the moment they start worrying about other teams, then then that becomes a problem. I feel like that happened a couple of years ago when Man City was chasing, started worrying. Yes, didn't have the squad depth, but started worrying, and City went and took over and won the league. I just feel like Arsenal now are in that position that the moment they start worrying about other teams, then it could cause themselves their own problems.
Yeah, exactly that. Which isn't to say there aren't other good teams in this league. Like, I watched Chelsea yesterday. I was impressed. It's probably the best Chelsea team I've seen in a long time. I think around the pitch, they got so much quality. Cole Palmer's still to come back into this team. Obviously, Levi Colwill's out for the season, where he would be playing left centre back as well. But Chalobah's stepped up. You know, him and Fofana have formed a good partnership. Esteval, we know, unlucky to get taken off at half time. Got a lot of quality. Manchester City again, so much quality. I'm sure they'll go out in January again and do business. There's other amazing teams, really, really good teams in this league that I'm not disrespecting. But like I said, we got the squads. I think we got the experience from the last few years. If we just keep playing how we've been playing, don't let this result affect us, which I don't think they will, because it's still a draw. Even though I think they'll be disappointed. Genuinely, I think we'll be fine.
OK, Christian, thank you.
Cheers.
So that's the Arsenal reaction. Let's get the Chelsea side of things now with Charlie Patrick. Charlie, right, so you know you played obviously more than half of the game with 10 men. So does that prove that you actually are in the title race, that you managed to get a draw? Race.
I mean, look, I think it proves that we can compete at a top level against the top sides, which we knew about anyway going into the game. But I think the most important thing for me is that Maresca has learned from when we went down to 10 men earlier in the season against United and Brighton, where we basically waved the white flag, took our attackers off and left ourselves with no out ball. This time, he didn't do that. He left it exactly the same. And it's good to see that he's learned from his mistakes. And I think this was a performance from Chelsea that, you know, the fact, despite not getting the 3 points, that we can be very proud of the shift that the players put in the way that we competed. And for me personally, we should have won that game. I know it's all ifs and buts right now, but I felt we were the better side than Arsenal. And look, we still need to find the consistency over a sustained period of months. But this November month, we had some tough games and we've come through it unbeaten. And we're now showing signs from the performance against Barcelona and the performance against Arsenal that big sides and teams should be giving us more respect. And for me, if we can get to February, March time, and we're still within this 5-6 points that we are right now, then maybe we can start having a bit more of a serious conversation.
Yeah, but Charlie, I'm not having that, because that's basically you just sitting on the fence, we're hiding behind experience. No, it is. Listen, because you're saying, if we can get to February, if we can get there, this is where I'm going at. Why can't you get, with the squad you've got now, why can't you still be in the title race the whole way through? Why? Because you haven't got the experience. Like I said, you've got someone who's won the World Cup, someone who's won the Euros, they've won the Champions League. How are we going with this experience? What do you want? A 35-plus centre-half coming in? Where are we going with this?
I'm not talking about the lack of experience. We've got experienced players. We've got leaders developing now. For me, if we can get Cole Palmer back into this team fully fit, obviously we haven't got Levi Colwell, as you said, you know, Fofana and Chalobah, that partnership is starting to look good. I just still feel that the big difference for me is we're lacking that little bit of quality still in the final third. And I think when you're looking, you know, for the big moments in title races and whatnot, I just think we're lacking that tiny bit of quality in the final third. I still think we're a little bit short. Sanchez has massively improved in goal, and fair play to him. He was very good again yesterday, and he's been brilliant this season. But I still think in terms of goalkeeper and just that little bit of quality that we're lacking at the top end of the pitch are the reason why I don't think we can go the full distance. But I think it will cause a lot of teams problems, and I think we can you know, put ourselves in the position where we stay in contention for a lot longer than we did last season, because this is the stage last season where heading into December, we then started to fall away. We were a couple of points behind Liverpool around Christmas time. We didn't beat Everton away, and then the whole lot kind of fell apart for us and we had to scramble to get Champions League football in the new year. So for me, I'm looking at this Christmas period. If we can come through that, then I think we're looking in a very, very strong position. But I don't want to sit here and say 6 points back we're in a title race. Arsenal finished second last season and they weren't in a title race all season. So that's the way that I'm looking at it.
Moises Caicedo with his red card. It was suggested by Jamie Carragher that all the pre-match talk of Caicedo v Rice got to him. Do you think that could be the case, and how worried if that is?
No, I don't think so. I don't buy into that train of thought at all. Look, he's made a mistake. He's mistimed the challenge. It was a bit rash. Fully deserved the red card. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, I was sort of fearing the worst when your best player gets sent off and you've got to go 50-odd minutes against the top side without your best player. But I thought we coped very well. But no, I don't think Caicedo, you know, that sort of chat got the better of him at all. I think, you know, he's been outstanding for us. He just made a bit of a mistake. But I think that's our 7th red card of the season, which already, you know.
Are
at
you
such
worried
an
about
early-
that, Charlie?
It's not ideal, but what I would say is that it's difficult, right? Because you look at that immediately and think that's a discipline issue. And for some of those red cards, absolutely. But others, when you look at it, you know, a slightly mistimed challenge, I don't think is a discipline issue. It's not like we're getting sent off for violent conduct, we're squaring up to players and we're doing that sort of thing. But it is something that needs to be stamped out. We've got to be making better decisions. But in a split second, if you just mistimed a tackle ever so slightly, look, I'm not making excuses. It's unfortunate, but it's something we have to stamp out going forward. So you can't keep going down to 10 men in games.
All right, just finally, Charlie, Reece James, right back or midfielder now?
Well, still right back, but I mean, what an outstanding player. You know, he's world class at right back. He was brilliant in midfield. You know, all the chat was about Rice and Caicedo before the game. Reece James was the best midfielder on the pitch. He was the best player on the pitch by an absolute mile. And to have a player who is so good in two very, very different positions is a real privilege. And it's so good for Reece now because we've been, you know, had these injury issues that he's had, you know, about, oh, he can't stay fit. Now he's been fit for well over a year. He's back playing his best football and he's just showing how good he is and how important a player he is to Chelsea. So whether it's in midfield or whether it's at right back, you're going to get a top class performance from him. And it's two brilliant options for us to have.
Right, Charlie, thank you.